Are you spending more and more on meta ads and getting worse and worse results? You're not crazy and you're not alone. I own High Beam Marketing. We're a digital advertising agency, and we're working with about 20, 25 clients at any given time. And I can tell you that this wild thing has happened in the background of everybody's ad accounts this year. Some people have called it the Andromeda update, and while that's right, it's only a portion of the story. So in this video training, I'm going to give you the 4 major updates that Meta did, what it means for your business, and how you can capitalize on it going into this next year. And Meta doesn't do anything, haphazardly. They essentially have slowly rolled pieces of this out over the last 12 months. It's been a real behind the scenes update. And so if this last 12-month period, some of your ad accounts, some of your campaigns that used to crush are kind of lagging behind, like this is the reason why. And it breaks down into 4 segments here. So you do have the Andromeda update, which is something you've probably heard about if you've been on the internet for more than 10 minutes. Okay, but as you can see, it's only 1 of 4. The first update that we want to talk about today is Lattice. And I'll get to Andromeda in a minute, and I'll show you how that plays in. But Lattice, essentially you got to think about it like this. Back in the day now, all of the different content types and channels within Meta's universe, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all the different things, and even content types within that, reels, stories, posts, groups, all the things, they all had their own independent libraries, if you will. And so what the Lattice update did was basically take all of those libraries and shove them into one big house, one big ad library or content library, you can call it. And that's good, because now it means that instead of like what we used to have to do as advertisers was sort of hack the system, hack Meta's inefficiencies, where we'd have to build different campaigns at different levels and all the things, and we were trying to like force content into people's feeds because none of the feeds actually talk to each other. Now all that information is in one place. So now all the actual things we're going to get to talk about in a second can actually talk to each other in one place. This is huge. This is a massive leap forward for efficiency when it comes to buying ads on Meta. So the second update you got to be aware of is something called GEM. And GEM stands for Generative Ads Recommendation Model, I think. The way to think about this is, imagine you go to this library now and you're introduced at the front desk to a really old, wise head librarian. Granny hair, she smiles, she got some wrinkles on her face. I'm a great marketer, I'm not a great artist, but like, this is Jim, the wise librarian. Now what Jim does is it knows almost everything about almost everybody. And that is creepy. It is what it is. We live in a data first world, and your data is everywhere, your customers' data is everywhere. But Jim is essentially looking out at all of the users on the platform and trying to understand what it is you want and when you want it. So Jim is looking at things like user intent, your ad content, the stage of business. It is basically the head librarian. It is the conductor of the entire orchestra, so to speak, right? And so these things are great now because you have all the content, all the information in one place. You have one super brain that's able to see both Lattice, which is the library, and the users, right? Over here you have all of the users that are going to go into this library. And so what Gem is doing is Gem is aware of what's in here in the library and also what these users are up to and what they may want as soon as they walk in. Essentially, what Gem wants to do is to create a seamless user experience where as soon as you walk into the library, without you even knowing what you want, Gem already knows, and it can present to you a book. Now, who is going to go get the book off the bookshelf? The content, the ads, the reel, the whatever you're going to consume as you're scrolling through your Facebook or Instagram ads. That's where Andromeda comes in. Andromeda is like a team of super smart research assistants. These guys are going to get orders from Jim as the users show up on the platform, and they're going to sprint to the library, and they're going to run around the library, find the right content, and deliver it to this user's iPhone or Android if you're one of those kind of people. And so essentially these 3 things are working together to make sure that these users are having a seamless integrated experience. But Meta took all of this one step further actually with something called sequence learning. And what sequence learning is the user's intent. It understands based on all of this information, all of this activity, all the things happening all at once all over the internet and on Meta's platforms. It understands where you are in the process. There's this marketing method popularized by a guy named Eugene Schwartz in this book called, actually I have the book, it's called Breakthrough Advertising. It's right here. It's a $150 book. Don't buy it. I'm about to give you the spark notes here about what you need. You know, we know the funnel, right? Everybody knows a funnel. But you got to think about this from an awareness stage. Like that's what this is, awareness. So somebody is either completely unaware of your product, which let's say you have you want to start a clothing brand, right? And you want to be sweatshirts for runners. We're getting ready to go into the winter time here. So you want to be the sweatshirt for runner brand. So most runners do not know that you exist. Most humans don't know that you exist. Maybe they're not runners. Like the majority of the market is in this unaware stage. But then you become problem aware. This is where I realized, oh, I went out for a run today and I'm cold. Maybe I'm a new runner. I started out unaware. So then I went out for my first run in the winter and I was cold. I now have a problem. Then what comes is solutions. I become solution aware. Okay, so do I want to buy a sweatshirt like this? Do I want to buy a quarter zip? Do I want to just buy those Under Armour compression things? Like there's a whole bunch of solutions out there. Like which one do I want to buy? So then I settle on, oh, the best solution for me is sweatshirts. So then I become product or brand aware. So when I'm product aware, now I'm looking at all the different options for products within the running sweatshirt community. And when I finally hit the last stage, I am most aware. And most aware people, they know your brand exists. They know Chandler's running sweatshirt brand is a thing. And they're just looking for a reason to buy. Maybe I can send them a 10% off coupon. Maybe I can get a referral link from a friend. Like there's a bunch of different triggers we can pull to try to get them out of here. Where most advertisers mess up is they focus the majority of their ad dollars down here on product and most aware. What does that look like? Google ads, Amazon ads, essentially these intent-based platforms where like, I now know I have a problem, I know what the solution is, and I'm looking for it down here. The problem is, some other model popularized by a marketer named Les Bidet, and it's called the 95-5 rule. And what the 95-5 rule states is that 95% of your market is not in market for what you do. That means that 95% of the people are up here in the unaware and problem aware stages. Like they don't actually care yet enough to go take action and buy something. Most brands that we work with that are sort of floundering at that sub $5 million a year mark, they're focusing all of their ad dollars down here on this bottom of the funnel. The big brands, the Nike, the Adidas, the whomever else you want to think, they go up funnel. They go create brand awareness at the top of the funnel. And so wrapping this all the way back up to like, what does this mean for you with the meta ad update? Sequence learning knows where you are in this life cycle and it knows where you are in this life cycle. There was another example Meta gave on their update blog for this. Let's say that somebody clicked an ad and booked a ski resort weekend in Aspen. Meta now knows that. That person went from all these different stages and did the purchase at the end. Well, now Meta's going to assume, oh, hey, if they booked a ski resort in Aspen, maybe they need places to eat in Aspen. Maybe they need ski gear. Maybe they need things to do in Aspen that aren't ski related. That's where all your ad sequences start coming in here, here, and here. Wrapping it all up, the Lattice is the ad content library. This is everything that's on Meta at all times. These users walk into this when they open up their Instagram app. Gem is the wise librarian that takes these users and assumes they know what they're about to want based on all the information they get from sequence learning. And then Gem yells at the Andromeda research assistants to go out into the library, find the thing, and then deliver the content to the person's platform. So this can be really overwhelming, but the good news is that based on what we've been seeing over the last 6 months or so, there's 3 major updates that you need to make to your campaign structure on Meta, either you if you're running your ad yourself or your agency, whomever's doing it. Here's the 3 things. Number 1, consolidate campaigns and really broaden your targeting. Gone are the days, again, because we didn't have all the information in one place where we had to do segmentation and do different campaign structures and all the things. Now it's all in one place. And the AI, the Meta AI, all of this is smarter than any ad buyer on the planet. So every limiter you add, every campaign targeting structure thing, like this is a big argument we're having with a lot of old school brands right now with our client base, is like personas and things, you don't have to worry about it so much from a targeting standpoint. Sequence, Andromeda, Gem, these will all work together to find the people. So broaden it out. The system is smarter than you know. Let it build the funnel with the sequence learning. Let it use these fast, always working 24/7 things to go build the sequence. Every limiter you put on, it's like putting a giant break in between these systems, and you're trying to build campaigns in here, and really what you should be doing is removing these breaks so that Meta can move people down very seamlessly. The second thing you got to implement is something called creative diversity. Now, back in the day, what we used to do for creative diversity was we take one static image and we would test 30 different headlines on it, and that was creative diversity. That was creative testing. And Meta would go in, and it would look at all those different headlines, and it would test one and test one and test one, and we could incrementally get 1, 2, 10% better on each one, and that was creative diversity. Those days are gone. Now what creative diversity looks like is different content formats. That could be a reel, that could be carousel, that could be a static image, that could be a story, that could be Facebook in-phase post. Like it is broad from a creative standpoint now. Like you cannot do just one type of thing anymore. You got to do all the things. You got to give, again, you have to put more into Lattice so that these things have more to access to really build out the best funnel possible. So that's where creative diversity comes in. And that also means like different types of content. I will tell you that my recommendation between, let's say between video, right, and photos, little camera here. The difference between videos and photos now is like 80% of your ads should be video and 20% should be photo. We are now in a interest-based algorithm, social media first world, Meta, you know, TikTok, these things, YouTube even here. These are the new television platforms, which is video, not photos. There's still a place for photos, but like the majority of your creative focus now has to be on video. Like you cannot go back to a world where it's cheaper and easier to just make 1,000 photos. You know, that's done. It's now, how many videos can I make? How many different people can I put in the videos? How many different types of people? How many different problems? How many different hooks, right? Like all those things, and I'll do another training video on creative diversity later because it's that important. I'll dedicate a whole thing to it, but like you have to start broadening your creative. So go look in your ad library today, and if you see more than 2 images or videos that are very similar to each other, you might as well delete one and let the system just run the other 2, because Meta's doing this thing now in your ad account. You can actually see it. They're grouping alike creatives, and so it's just not helpful anymore unless you are changing up the types of creative, giving Meta the signals it needs to actually activate and do the thing you want it to do, which is grow your brand awareness and sell your product. And the final thing you got to do is my least favorite thing, but my business partner Ben Tonak is the man at this, and it's called MarTech. Without clean data, none of this works. If you don't have your MarTech up to date, none of this works. I'll never forget, we audited this one account one time with HighBeam. Me and Ben dove in and we looked at their analytics, and Ben comes back to me and goes, Chandler, you're never going to believe this. They had a problem. They couldn't scale their ads. Every time they'd scale their ads, everything would break, everything. And Ben couldn't figure it out either for a while. And then, finally, he discovered that these people, their previous agency, had turned on a conversion event for every time somebody landed on the webpage, it counted as $1 in revenue. So they were driving all these clicks, sending Meta a bunch of bad information, you know, so the sequence was all out of whack. And that was essentially what was killing him. So go in, make sure your pixels are working, make sure all your conversion events are firing, make sure all the things within MarTech are working. If you need help with that, we can work on that for you on a project basis. Click the link, let me know. But that's the big thing. You want to simplify your campaign structure and broaden your targeting. You want to work on more creative diversity, and you want to make sure you're sending Meta back clean data so all these things can work together. I can hear some of you now. And what you're saying to me is, Chandler, marketing doesn't work. I hate spending money on Meta. It's just a waste of time, blah, 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 blah. I don't actually get return on ad spend on it. All that's nonsense. The biggest brands in the world market their businesses. Back to our previous example of the runner sweatshirt, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. These brands are spending billions of dollars on advertising. Why do they do that when everybody knows what they are very aware of those brands? Why are they still going out and competing? And why do you think your little brand doesn't need to do that when the biggest brands in the world do? They're going out and competing for the eyeballs that already know who they are, and nobody knows who you are yet. Why do they do that? So that's why I did this video right here. That video is going to give you the 10 limiting mindsets that if you as a brand marketer can overcome them, you'll actually grow a brand, and you could be the next Nike, the next Adidas. We'd love to see it. You've got everything you need now. You're ready to go. If you need help, click the link in this video, click the link in the comments. We'd be happy to help you at HighBeam.